Oh, God.
What's wrong with you now?
I think I was bitten by a radioactive snake.
Are there any nuclear plants even in Hamilton?
I don't know. All I know is that I have this.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
So real quick, the first thing we need to do is just kind of fill everyone in on why this movie is special to us. First off, we're talking about Curse 2, The Bite from 1989.
There are a few things more lethal, more repelling, more terrifying.
But this movie is kind of crazy, but this movie kind of has a special place in our hearts.
Yeah, so I remember first seeing this movie a very long time ago, but I remember actually like back in the days when there was something called a Jumbo Video. Did you guys know Jumbo Video? They used to have this like horror movie section, but in where we lived, it was kind of like it was like a horror movie castle section.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing the cover. It was like it was like a VHS. In that like plasticky kind of cover.
It was like a clamshell.
It was a clamshell, and it was like a picture of like a, I guess it was a snake, like a cobra type of snake on the cover. It was like Curse 2, and I was like, I need to see this.
It can live anywhere.
I ain't a human being for about 100 miles.
It can strike when you least expect.
Something weird going on around here. I can feel it.
And we somehow got a hold of this movie. I was in 7th grade, so I would have been 12. You would have been 8.
Not right.
And yeah, somehow we found this movie, and I think according to what you're saying is we wound up keeping the movie because Jumbo Video closed down.
I'm pretty sure we rented it, and then like we kept it. But you know, maybe it's funny to ask, like, when did you first see the movie? I gotta do this. Like, what is happening here?
Oh, the kids just sticking stickers all over.
I have a sticker too, actually.
Okay, fine. Let me take the one from your face. But anyways, when was the first time you saw Curse 2?
When you subjected me to it.
What the hell is this in the road? Son of a bitch! Yeah, I just ran over about 100 snakes back down the road here.
It will always be man's darkest fear.
Where are they going? Straight to hell. Where they belong.
The Bite.
Which was like what? Like
Years.
10 plus.
Well, you mentioned it. You kept on mentioning it to me over and over again. So I ended up finding it, like, it was hard to find at the time. I had to buy it.
Not now.
I had to
stream it on YouTube.
Yeah, that's where we
it,
found it.
It was like a 2-pack, Curse 1 and Curse 2.
Which
know
they,
that Curse
which
1 even exists,
yeah, let's
so.
just say Curse 2 has absolutely nothing to do with Curse 1.
Right. I've seen both, sadly. Because we bought both. we felt obligated to. So I didn't have the kind of nostalgia for it that you guys did. I have my own kind of areas of nostalgia, but it wasn't Curse 2. I thought it was entertaining. I like practical effects. I like practical horror effects. I like The Thing and stuff like that. I really like that era for horror movies.
Definitely.
The 80s. So, yeah, it wasn't like, I didn't, contrary to what I've been saying, I actually didn't hate it. I actually enjoyed it for what it was.
If he got bitten by a crotolina, this antidote will take care of it. Tell me about your arm. What happened to it?
It's a snake bite, all right? That's it. It's a snake bite.
And I think pretty much the main thing, and I think we all agreed on this point, is the movie is basically made for the special effects.
100%.
Yeah, I'd say, yeah.
And the person that did the special effects is Screaming Mad George. And if anyone knows anything about, practical effects back then, if you were into Fangoria like I was back then, Screaming Mad George was a pretty big name. Up there with like Tom Savini and Rick Baker and everything like that. So I remember that name, and I remember, I think it was Curse 2 was the first time I heard of Screaming Mad George, and then I had to kind of follow everything else that he did too. So, but yeah, special effects are really the main course
Yeah, I should have
of
not
this
been
movie.
watching the movie at 8. Like, I don't know where my parents were, or
We were children
what
of the
they-
80s, man.
Yeah, so it starts in Yellow Sands, and there's people in hazmat suits, and they're picking up snakes. I think we're supposed to be given the idea that something's wrong with the snakes. Are we given an explanation?
The guy slightly later on, the gas station attendant, talks about testing radiation.
God punishing the desert. It's people testing bombs beneath our feet. The strong ones that survive, they're different. I'll kill them myself.
We meet our heroes.
Heroes.
Yeah, well, Clark and Lisa. Clark is played by J. Eddie Peck, who you keep calling Gregory.
Yeah, I don't know, whatever. Same person.
Could not be further apart.
J. Eddie Peck
Can't
was.
say that. And then but I can't. It's just one's a soap opera and soap opera actor, and the other is Gregory Peck.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah, J. Eddie Peck was in a bunch of soap operas. His girlfriend Lisa is Jill Shulin, who was in a bunch of soap operas. She also most notably was in the Stepfather, the 1987 version. So yeah, cool. But yeah, they're driving somewhere. We don't know.
They don't actually,
There's no.
They say it towards the end. I think they're going to California because the doctor's saying, "Oh, I hear you're going to California," but that's the first time you hear it, and it's like near the end of the movie.
But it's like 80 minutes into the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really irrelevant.
So when this movie begins, we don't know where they're going. They're just driving, and they stop at a gas station, and they meet a rednecky guy who's basically our Crazy Ralph Friday the 13th. Actually, we have two Crazy Ralphs in this movie.
Yeah.
Technically. But they meet the first Crazy Ralph. He's all rednecky, and it's like, oh, stay out of Yellow Springs or wherever.
Yeah, he's like, that place ain't safe.
That place ain't
There's
safe.
not a human 100 miles from there.
I ain't a human being for about 100 miles.
Thanks for the advice.
5 minutes down the road, another human.
Oh, and he's really gross. He was like,
Hey, she ain't bad looking. Is that your wife? Is that your girlfriend?
yeah, ugh. Yeah. Anyways, so they leave the gas station.
They do not heed his warning.
No, they obviously
take a different route, and they're like, we're gonna take this shortcut.
I mean, well, it's a horror movie, and 90% of horror movies have to exist because our main characters are stupid. I mean, that's true. If they're not stupid, then these movies wouldn't exist.
Alien Covenant.
Babe, are we talking quarantine protocols?
I don't know.
That's another conversation. Let's not veer too far off.
I know. I'm just saying that as a modern example. They don't get smarter with age. I'm just saying
That's true, yeah.
the trope stands
That's true. That's true.
Even the mighty Ridley Scott requires idiots in his movie.
That's true. They stop someplace. Does she go pee? No.
Oh yeah. So yeah, she needs to pee.
And there's a snake, and suddenly Clark pulls out a gun, which we didn't know he had. He has amazing aim, and she also has amazing trust in him to be able to let him shoot in her direction, which that's something that's going to come back later on.
After they've blown the tire and she goes to pee and he's in the car trying to find the spare.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
it's like right after the guy heeded their warning. He's like, "Don't go down."
They drive down a road and they run over like 2,000 snakes.
Yeah. And their heads are out the window.
1,900 of them are rubber.
God! Fuck is that? What? I hate snakes, Chuck! I hate them!
He doesn't even tap his brake, by the way.
No. And then they're just swerving
with their heads
with their
both
heads
out the
to the
window.
window.
He was hydroplaning over the snakes. That's how little he was slowing down. He looked shocked for like many scenes, like too long.
Yeah. And then he's like, "Oh man, I ran over like 100 snakes," and it was like, "No, that was like thousands."
So then, because when they reach the black attendant's place, their Jeep is just covered in blood.
Yeah.
like they ran over a deer covered in blood.
Yes.
Finally, they get to the attendant, the black attendant.
Right. That is like super black. Like I was just like, he like literally came out of the shadows.
$200.
It still was in the shadows.
And I was just like, and then when you see him, he's like not that black. But I was just like, why did they make him so black? Anyway.
Well, he comes out and he's super ominous and super vague about everything.
No, actually, I was talking about all these snakes all over the place. Where are they going?
Straight to hell, where they belong.
Has a gun, which at that point is funny because Clark forgot he had a gun. Because he could have easily been like, "Listen, dude," but the black attendant points a gun at him. He says it's going to be $200 to get gas and to fix a spare.
So he sees a picture of this guy's dog, and he's just like, "Oh,
Lady, she sure was.
That's right.
He
He
got
said
bit by a snake,
and he died.
And he died. He's like, "Oh, can I use your bathroom?"
That's right.
Key says toilet.
So Clark, he gets the key for the bathroom and goes down a dark tunnel, and then he hears the sound, and again, it's like, why would? And it's a horror movie, so
gotta investigate.
He's got to investigate. Stupid white people. Didn't get far. He was chased off by the black attendant.
I thought you said your dog was dead.
Said lots of things.
I said a lot of things.
Yeah. And then
not really. He said like 3 lines.
You literally are laconic.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyways, you said stupid white guy. Definitely stupid black guy.
Yeah, this stupid white guy is superseded by stupid black guy, because stupid black guy keeps his dog, and his dog has been mutated into a dog snake hybrid thing.
What did you call it?
Anaconda dog.
Anaconda dog. What were you expecting to happen?
He's like
an anaconda dog?
Yeah.
but it's funny. He's like, oh, seems like you feel a little bit better.
You feel a little better. Here, boy.
Nice treat for you, lady.
But he didn't give any. He didn't even give any like he didn't even allude to how long ago his dog had. To me, it seemed like it had been a long time. So I was like trying to as he's doing this. Hey, I'm gonna give you some food. I'm figuring like that anaconda dog's been down there for a while. But he looks surprised when it does what it does.
Yeah.
So I'm like, did it just morph?
I don't know.
But he seems like this sagely dude who has all this exposition that he's refusing to give.
Yeah, and it seems like he knows what's going on.
But then clearly
doesn't. But I don't know.
An extended cut where he talks.
Release the extended cut.
Said a lot of things. Well, we did not.
By the way, this movie was directed by Federico Prosperi, and this was his only feature movie.
He did not prosper.
He did not prosper.
Jesus Christ, Jordan. Are you gonna do this all night?
And the other thing that we probably missed out on was the fact that every once in a while, after they ran over all these snakes and they passed the attendance house, we had snake-o-vision.
Yes.
Like all the sexual snake-o-vision.
Yeah,
always looking up.
These snakes were very interested in this lady's legs.
In Lisa's legs and her thighs and everything between them as well. So they stop someplace and Lisa has a bird cage and she has birds, pet birds, and I think they stopped at a motel. Right. And Clark goes to get the birds and he gets bit. So because he gets bit first, and when he gets bit, everyone stops.
Oh yeah.
There are kids playing on a playground. Jamie Farr is shaving, and there's like other people, and he gets bit, and it's like it's like beware the Moors.
Yeah, it was weird how well everybody reacted. It was in that they had supersonic hearing.
Yeah,
because he didn't shriek or anything, and they were pretty far away, and it was like a busy street nearby. I was like, how the hell did they hear it? And they all flocked to it.
I mean, they were like, you got bit, you need to get that taken care of now.
Snake's got some ass-kicking venom in him.
Lord's testing his children.
Mean motherfuckers.
And the little girl's like, I saw it.
Hey, where? There!
I saw it out of the car. It was like, okay,
so
out of the car.
So Jamie Farr comes out, and Jamie Farr, Corporate Klinger from MASH, obviously, which I can't believe he's in this. There's actually a couple people, or a few people.
Must have been a slow year.
Must have been a really slow year. He needed some new dresses. Let's just say that.
Sorry, we have a guest.
Hey, Chewy.
Stunt double for the crocus.
Hey, Chewy.
Sorry, the anaconda.
Oh my God.
Anyways,
yeah, Jamie Farr from MASH is here. He's a snake expert.
Here you call them chicken snakes. Oh. You don't have to worry much, unless of course you're a chicken.
But he's more like a charlatan, really.
He's a snake oil salesman.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh my God. Yeah. So he.
It was pretty good. Come on.
Oh my God.
So
this guy fully is acting like he's a doctor. Like he's just like, I got the antidote.
Yeah.
It's this.
And so he gives me the antidote. And the other thing is he has a business associate who is Cheswick from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
And he is literally Cheswick from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Literally.
He didn't change character.
He's the same person.
Just walked off one set and onto the other.
Oh my God, I can't look. I just hate needles.
Yeah. I would like to know about our cigarettes.
Yeah, and he's only in 2 scenes. He talks about how he's like scared of needles and scared of snakes and some other random scene, and
but
then he's
he
gone.
looked jovial the whole time.
Oh, he was extremely jovial.
Largest poisonous snake in the Western Hemisphere.
Western Hemisphere? What's it doing here?
This is the Western Hemisphere, Georgie.
I don't want to die!
It was weird.
Random, and he served really no purpose to further the plot.
No, he didn't. He didn't at all.
What little plot there was.
They get to the motel. They have this weird quasi-love scene. They bring in like Kenny G sax music.
Yep, it's all done in silhouette.
Yeah.
Top Gun.
Yeah, they kind of do like the Top Gun thing. And I want to bring up the music being composed by Carla Maria Cordio, and I wanted to bring that up. And I can't believe you guys haven't seen this. This person did the music for Troll 2. Troll 2, you guys haven't seen that. We're going to have to do that at some point. But Troll 2 obviously is one of the worst movies of all time. And when, especially you, because I know you know the music for this really well, when you hear the music for Troll 2, you'll be like, oh, yeah, the same guy. Yeah, definitely. And this was the first time we got Snakeovision in the motel. And also our first roar.
Yeah.
Because snakes do that.
Sounds.
Okay. And I'm not going to say this very often, but in their defense.
Oh no.
In Anaconda.
We're about to be actually
in
here.
Anacondas, all the snakes also make growling sounds.
Oh my gosh, maybe they took it from this.
I don't know why it's a thing. Like sometimes sharks make growling sounds in movies too. So.
It was weird.
Smile, you son of a bitch.
The funny thing was he heard it. The main character heard it before he got bit because he protected Lisa.
Yeah, it wasn't just a roar for the audience. It was a roar for everyone.
Everyone heard it. And he's like, "Oh, get your hand out of there, Lisa!" Ah! It was like,
yeah,
you heard it. Like you fully heard it.
They didn't even pick like a roar that would sound reptilian. Like, you know, like a crocodile, like adjacent.
No, it was like a lion roar.
Yeah.
Lisa, get back.
What?
It was a lion roar.
Yeah, and I was making fun that I expected to hear like the gremlins.
To put different sounds on. Okay, they had to go with what they already had in the studio. Hit lion roar. Go.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. So, anyways, this is when Lisa goes into the bed and she picks up. So you think it's her underwear, and I thought it was like snakeskin.
I thought it was her panties.
It looked really like panties, though.
I don't, but it was like it had like bile or whatever on it, and then she sees the snake in there. She beats the fuck out of it with a guitar.
She does.
And
while I was making those noises.
While I was making those, but what was the best though was after she did that, they go to a diner and leave the snake for the housekeeper to find.
Yeah. They're just like, well, just leave now. It's fine. And she's like, Santa Maria! And she's like screaming.
Oh my god.
And then the guy gets in there, the charlatan. He's like, oh no, it's this type of snake. Yeah. I gave them the wrong antidote.
That's the other scene Cheswick was in.
I need to find them. And the other guy's like, my gosh, I'm afraid of snakes. And we're like, why is he here?
Why are you here? And then it was like, bye, Cheswick. It was great seeing you, but whatever.
Like many questions as to why this salesman was carrying around anti-venom in a suitcase.
We don't know.
He literally says like, I'm a businessman.
The script called for it.
Right. I'm just saying.
Damn it.
I'm not trying to call too many balls and strikes. All right. His whole character arc
hinges on him giving
him the wrong anti-venom. And he but there's no explanation as to why he's just walking around randomly with it. And for a charlatan, he got nothing out of it. He didn't get paid for it.
He gets his what he wants at the end.
Target practice?
Anyways, let's keep going. So, by the way, this guy's hand is starting to hurt. So, like, you see at one point in the scene, because he doesn't have bandages yet, that his hand is starting to turn, like, kind of
like weird.
Bruised.
It's getting a little bruised, starting to, like, web a little bit. Yeah. Nothing.
And then, I think before they get to the bar, they stop somewhere and he gets it wrapped. It's wrapped for the first time.
Yeah, he gets wrapped at like a pharmacy.
Yeah, he gets wrapped at a pharmacy.
And the first like really weird turn is when he opens the pop can with his teeth.
Oh god. I was like, we should all get cans.
Let's all break our teeth there. And then the movie takes a weird detour. Because it turns into like a Smokey and the Bandit, good old boy movie. When Jamie Farr decides he's going to get all of his trucker friends to chase down.
Breaker 19, Snake Eyes here.
Roger, Snake Eyes. This is Death Wish.
Because he doesn't want to get sued because he gave Clark the wrong anti-venom.
And he's like not a doctor.
He's not a doctor.
He's like, oh my god, he's talking to his lawyer. He's like,
dispensing medicine without a license. I was only trying to help. What kind of a shyster lawyer are you, Bernie?
I can get sued for what?
No, he said he's gonna get charged.
Manslaughter.
So he gets all of his trucker friends to try to chase this guy, to try to chase Clark and Lisa down.
And his friends are all pieces of shit. Let's be honest. They're all like,
but they're like stereotypes.
They're stereotypical good old boy rednecks.
Personal matter, my ass. Harry Morton, where are you?
At the same time, Clark and Lisa stop at one of the redneckiest bars in movies. No, this is like the same. I would not be surprised if it was the same redneck bar from 48 Hours.
All right, listen up. I don't like white people. I hate rednecks. You people are rednecks. That means I'm enjoying this shit.
It was that rednecky bar. Like, so they stop in there. They decide to get a beer or whatever. Someone goes to Lisa and asks to dance with her.
Want to dance here, pretty girl?
I'm dying to.
Hey, pretty lady. Yeah.
Okay. Before this, they had this very awkward conversation about jealousy. And she's like, you're just jealous.
You are jealous. I just better not wake up tomorrow morning with a couple of bites taken out of my behind.
She's like, no, baby, I'd never.
I've never been jealous because I've never cared about anybody enough. But I care about you enough.
Yeah.
I would commit Harry Carey before I'd ever touch a single hair on your head. And you can bank on that.
So they go to the bar. The guy asks Lisa to dance with her. And she's like, yeah, I want to dance.
And he's like, all like,
Yeah, he's virtually like catatonic at this point.
Yeah.
Like from this point on.
He turns really quickly.
Yeah, and once he turns, he doesn't really ever turn
No.
back. Like,
Yeah, he's like all sweaty and he's just like,
Yeah.
Which makes it hard to relate to him, I guess. But.
And so basically,
Well, he's your protagonist up until that point.
yeah, and spoiler, not spoiler, this is basically a dumber version of The Fly.
Yeah, I'd say so. For sure. I'd say they look like maybe a little bit of American Werewolf in London.
A little bit of that in there. The girl has to dance. Lisa dances with the guy. She comes back to the bar.
Well, he's very handsome.
Oh, yeah. The guy's very hands-on.
And what is kind of crazy is like the main character. He's actually focused on his beer glass, so he doesn't even see what's really happening. So I don't know what.
He's
super mad about.
Yeah,
but
he's like,
look
you know
at
what?
this fly.
You're right. All those shots were shots for the audience to see.
So we were seeing.
Clark never sees any of him being handsy. So when she comes back, he drinks
the fly. Don't forget the fact.
He goes
looking at the fly,
and then he goes and taps the fly into the glass and he drinks the fly.
And I thought in real life he drank that fly. I was like, there it goes down. It's so nasty.
The power of editing. Lisa comes back and she's all happy. And Clark smacks the fuck out of her.
And everyone was like,
into next week.
From the hip.
And I remember us seeing that the first time. We were like, what?
We were like, what when we saw it this time? We were like, jeez.
You're like, I don't remember.
She went, like that pool table was pretty far away and she went from the bar to the pool table.
Oh my God.
I feel like that happened. That was like a real slap.
I don't know.
And nobody did a thing in that.
And
they were like,
well, because most of them probably beat their wives too.
Fair enough.
Clark is like gets all sick and he runs into the bathroom. And the guy that was dancing with Lisa chases after him. He's like,
damn wife beater. You want to try slapping somebody, mister? Huh? Will you come on out of there and try slapping me for what?
He kicks the door down. And is this the first time that the snake really...
Well, not really. He has just like superhuman strength.
That's
he, like,
right.
grabs his wrist, like,
he has the
breaks
Jeff.
his
It's the same scene as like the Jeff Goldblum arm wrestling moment and breaks his arm. Even though Clark smacked Lisa literally into next week, she stays with him.
Wow.
And then we get the big reveal.
You don't even know me. What did you think, that after a couple of weeks that I would just drop everything and run away and be with you?
They have been talking like they've been together for years.
This entire movie, up until this point, has convinced the audience that this has been a, ride or die couple. They act like it. The lines are written to make it seem that way. And then, they've only known each other for 2 weeks.
Kind of lowers the stakes.
Yeah.
It would seem like an arbitrary decision that actually didn't work at all to help the movie.
And I guess
you want to be heartbroken by the end, and you're like, oh, it's just like blink.
because it's basically the movie's about basically two drifter hippies.
Right.
Yeah.
Really.
Because
we don't know what they do. We don't know. I mean, Lisa has a guitar, but we don't know if that means
maybe they're trying to be movie stars. I don't know.
Yeah, we know. We don't know. And you're right. That doesn't give us any reason to really latch onto or have any like real empathy or sympathy for the characters because we just don't have that kind of connection.
Yeah.
Right? So Lisa says to Clark to drop her off anywhere. I guess the next day.
Fast forward to them being in the car and the snake gets super handsy, literally.
I don't know how to even describe the next scene other than to say that Clark's snake hand fingers Lisa. That's what happened.
But it changed her mind.
She stayed.
Put some moves on her.
It charmed her.
So then, after that happens, they end up in a really dark shed somewhere.
Doesn't
they go
show them stopping at this weird abandoned. It could have been a slaughterhouse for all we know. We don't know.
Probably was.
Man, I hope they have their tetanus shots.
Yeah, and it was probably the worst lit shot in the entire movie.
I think it was intentional.
I must have done that like as a pickup later on.
The
like,
director,
oh, man.
the director was probably like to Lisa, "You're gonna get naked in this scene," and Lisa was like, "You're gonna like this a certain way."
yeah, like in the dark.
Exactly. Then it turns again because they're driving, because she finds out the birds are eating.
Yes, yeah.
Where are the birds?
Right.
And well, she doesn't know that the birds are eaten, but but she says that he let them go. But
I'll let him go.
they at that point he decides to drive really fast, and they go on a high-speed chase with a pair of rednecky cops. They pull over, and again, Clark is just completely changed. He's a completely different person by this point.
Yeah.
And he's like,
You want to give me a ticket and give it.
they basically arrest Clark for not showing him his arm.
All you had to do was show me off.
It's a snake bite, all right?
Right.
He's like, "Do you have a warrant for me to show you my arm?" And they're like, "Oh, well, you must be a junkie, so we're just gonna take you in."
Yeah, they illegally search his car, find a weapon that they say does not have a permit in their area. They just come up with some charge.
They had the one cop with the broken nose for no reason. We don't know why he had a broken nose.
Nope.
But you mentioned that he was in Kill Bill, or he's like a Tarantino.
That actor has been in a lot of movies. I assume mostly as a sheriff.
It seemed like he's
Seemed like
in
a
a
character
few.
actor,
It looks like he was in a few Tarantino movies. And
Yeah.
They basically strand Lisa. And they take Clark away.
Will you keep it down back there? I'm trying to tell a story here.
They stop so the sheriff can take a piss, and
The deputy decides
The
that he's going to
deputy-
help him out because he's doing poorly in the back, groaning and such, and he wants to go loosen the handcuffs because he's in pain.
And this is when we get, I think, the first really big special effect moment
Right.
of the movie. The snake arm comes out and goes down the deputy's throat.
I hate snakes, Chuck! I hate them!
Straight up Caligula fists him.
Reverse Fozzie Bear.
and pulls out his heart like
While it's still beating.
Temple of Doom
Through
style
his mouth.
through his mouth, and it's still beating.
I love that scene. I just like practical effects.
Yeah,
So
no, it's a great little moment. So then,
Sheriff comes and he hits him in the back of the head.
and I thought he died.
Yeah,
I thought,
we both did until he showed up later on.
and
We're
there's
like,
a couple of fake out death
Yes,
scenes.
yeah.
So that was the first one. Clark returns back to. He somehow finds his way back to Lisa, and this. Wow, Lisa's like, "How did they let you go?"
I showed him my arm.
Jesus Christ.
Hold on.
He said it very sincerely too. There wasn't very much. There wasn't a lot of irony in how he said it.
Clark ends up in a hospital. They get to the doctor with a sexy blonde nurse.
Sexy blonde doctor. She wasn't even a nurse.
Oh, sexy blonde doctor.
Yeah.
This is the first time that we noticed a really major continuity error that this movie was guilty of a couple times. When his snake hand goes down the sheriff's throat, it opens up his gauze.
Yeah.
So his hand is now exposed. Or it should be.
Right.
But when they get to the hospital, his hand is bandaged back up. Now, they did this obviously for one, suspense, and two, to pad out the runtime. Because they took a long time cutting the gauze.
Well, and
to
third, I
open up
imagine that it was less expensive for makeup and everything like that. It's easier just to make him look like he has a sock puppet hand than to actually make him look like he has a snake hand.
And it was funny too because she did this with no gloves. I remember you mentioned that. And
she's like, "I need to give you a mild sedative." Gives him a mild sedative.
And he didn't consent to any of this.
And then she comes back and she reads his X-rays and she's like terrified. And she comes back and she's like,
and the X-ray results are all the same. Like the lab results and the X-ray results are all in the same room.
Yeah. She comes back.
Her office was in the same room too.
I need to take some blood from you. Do you consent? And he's like, and she's like, I'm gonna take the blood anyways. And I was like,
and also, not only is she like a doctor, but she's also a snake expert and a geneticist, I think.
Like some fungi, this particular venom must have symbiotic properties.
She says that she's gonna consult somebody else, but we never see this other person. We never see a nurse come in. We never see another consulting physician come in.
Because she played all of those
right, yeah.
Like she literally played all of them.
She was like the smartest person and the dumbest at the same time.
Right.
Well, she's like, I'm gonna have to take blood.
And then the point that you would make when someone's going to take blood from someone.
Yeah, you need consent. The guy was
It's not even just that.
You don't take it from the
You're not going to take it from the infected arm.
We're going to take it from that arm, the one with the snake on it. So, okay, well, see what happens.
And from that point, we got our next big effect shot. And this is the one that really blew my mind when it happened. So the snake pops up. This is the first time we see the snake eyes on the hand.
It's like gauze eyes.
Gauze eyes.
They could have really masked the fact that it's not the actual hand, it's a close-up of, assuming a puppet or an animatronic, probably a puppet.
Because it's weird, because like she got the blood, and she's like doing, and he like woke up, and it's like him waking up like really woke the snake up, and he was like,
yeah. And so then the snake,
like,
so then the snake comes up and grabs her jaw, and rips her jaw right off. And I remember being like, that was awesome.
It was actually a good piece of like, they held that shot for a while. So
they
worked really hard on making that look realistic.
It looked so gory.
And at that point, Jamie Farr comes back. I don't know how he found him. Or one of the trucker guys tipped him off. So he ends up in the hospital.
That was definitely a plot point of convenience.
Yeah. And finds Clark's room. Is able to do so because Lisa. So here's the thing: Lisa isn't in the room with Clark, and she probably wouldn't be because she's not a family member. So how would Jamie Farr's character find Clark?
Because he's a charlatan, and he's just like, I'm gonna go up to the room. I gotta save this guy's life.
Whatever, plot holes. So, anyways, he finds Clark's room, and he's like, "Hey,
am I glad you're all right? It's me, Harry, the guy who saved your life.
I'm gonna give you the right anti-venom and everything like that." And he goes and almost trips over the dead nurse, and he goes into full improv mode.
Hey, catching you at a bad time, right? Nowadays you see somebody lying in the middle of the street bleeding to death. It's better you should let him die.
And one thing we do have to, and I don't even want to bring it up, but I feel we kind of have to. Jamie Farr is playing up a certain stereotype. Oh, no. I'm not going to get too far into it, but it is really clear what he is doing.
Yes.
Wow. And the last movie we just watched was The Black Gestapo.
No. We're not going back there again.
And he goes against the door and says, "Oh God," and slides down. And that's our second death fake out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because at that point I was like, oh, Jamie Farr is dead. Because we see Clark like run out of the hospital or whatever at that point. He disappears, and I think the sheriff gets a hold of Lisa and is like,
"You promise me you're gonna stay inside my county? Because if you leave my county, I'm gonna find you."
But Lisa doesn't have anything to do with anything that's happening. Right. And if Lisa left whatever county the sheriff was in, he doesn't have jurisdiction to go after.
Have really the internet at that point, so good luck.
Yes,
with that.
Exactly. So, but yeah, and man, they do rednecks dirty in this movie.
Yeah, definitely. Whoever watched it was like, he's like, little Deliverance vibe. I don't know. There's something there.
Man, they just made everyone, and they just made them all really awful people. Clark gets into a truck of like a Swedish Christian guy.
Yes.
He's like,
God only asks if one is in need of help.
I don't know if he was Amish. He can't be Amish. He wasn't Amish. Well, yeah. So he doesn't. Yeah, and he doesn't have an Amish, but he was Swedish.
Yeah, he was Amish.
No, he's not. He wasn't Amish. Maybe Mennonite? But even Mennonites, I don't even think there were Mennonites in Texas. I don't even know. Anyways,
it was just bizarre.
Yeah, and so he drives away with him, and Lisa somehow.
Well, she saw him leaving in the back of the car because he very obviously looked up out of the back to see her, lock eyes with her for many frames, and the cops don't notice. And I don't know. There was supposed to be a meaningful look. But it doesn't lead anywhere, that look. They held the shot for a long time. It was like he was staring at her, she was staring at him.
Was it like the Force? Was he like telepathically telling her where he was going?
I don't know.
Because the next scene is her showing up at their house.
Hi.
At least if they had her go in the cop car and like covertly check the plate number and then have the address, but they don't bother with those types of details in this movie, my friend.
Release the Snyder cut of The Curse 2, damn it.
There must be an extended cut somewhere where that black guy says a couple more lines.
That's right, so that his other line makes more sense.
Yeah, so okay. So Lisa finds the Swedish Christian people, and she's like, we need to get out of here. And they're like, you don't need to leave yet.
Don't see what all the rush is. Your man could do with a little rest. Maybe you could too.
You guys can leave in the morning. Well, we'll take care of you. We find out the one thing, their daughter is a brat.
I want to see the hand. When do I get a look under the bandages?
All the kids were bad in this movie. The kid lied initially, was just like, the snake's in the car. No, the snake was always still there.
That's true.
And then this other kid was just like, let me use my He-Man sword.
Yeah, so this girl she wants to see the bandaged hand. And I think by that point, we missed this. Because he had cut off his hand by this point. Right. He went to a place and cut off his hand with a hatchet. Yeah, it was roaring too much for him.
He's like, shut up!
And again, after he cut his hand off, somehow he got clean bandages. We don't know where he's getting these bandages from, but he had bandages. So they go up to the room. Him and Lisa, I think they have sex again.
It's alluded to, yeah.
Yeah, and
but he's in pretty rough shape.
He's in really bad
rough shape for a long time.
How is he?
He's a stud, man. He can get it going in under the worst circumstances.
Hey, man. So Bridey Girl comes up with her plastic sword, and her plastic sword is able to tear at his gauze really well.
Which is crazy. She must have sharpened it.
She stabbed at that thing, man. Yeah. So she stabs it open, and then we get our big snake reveal from the hand.
Well, there's like arm. Grape jelly that comes out.
Oh, that's right.
Marmalade.
We get like the marmalade coming out, and then the snake, and that was a good effect too. The snake coming out after it was like afterbirth or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the little girl screams, and Lisa screams. Lisa's like, "Oh shit!" And we just see, and it's just churning all over the place. And the dad comes in,
Lord mercy,
with a shotgun, and
the snake sticks out its tongue and wraps it around.
Yeah,
and pulls it towards him.
And kills the dad.
Well, yeah, stupidest death ever, because all he does is hit his head on the edge of the door, and he's like, dead. I'm like, yeah. Those are the sharpest.
I think that they were storing up all their gore for the
for something else. Yeah. So they kill the dad, and he spits bile at the mother, and she falls down the stairs. So we're never really told if the mother lives or dies. We just see a shot of the Bridey girl crying, so we don't know if she's an orphan or not now.
Poor child.
I don't know. I really don't feel sorry for her. She brought that shit on herself.
That's 100%.
If that girl didn't poke at that, this movie might have been a little different.
I feel like like that snake was still coming. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was like it was gonna come out of that thing at some point in time.
So okay, at this point, Lisa like goes crazy. She goes into the Jeep, and Clark hops on the back and he starts slinking.
He's like all super snaky. Man.
Yeah, he starts slinking over the Jeep, and she's driving.
To an area
The snake's tongue comes out of the vents.
Oh,
she
that's
goes
right.
to that area that's detour. The snake tongue comes out. She's leaving.
How did that happen again?
Starts licking her thighs, not shockingly.
Yeah, that's right. But
control of the car. It's because he's on top of the car. He's like,
Yeah, he's on top of the car and he sticks his tongue through the.
The snake sticks its tongue through the vents.
Yeah.
And then she crashes through the pylons because she's at the detour and then ends up in like a ditch.
And it is at this point that we see Screaming Mad George basically get his concerto on and go.
That's right. This is when he stepped in and was like, it's time to get down to business.
And so I'm going to just go by what I remember the first time I saw this scene and thinking to myself, this was the craziest thing I'd ever seen.
Yeah,
So
now she slams on the brakes.
So-
falls in the ditch and he's now at the front of the car.
yeah, so he's at the front of the car and he starts and we get the snake growl again. And his eyes starts popping out.
He loses an eye.
He loses an eye, and eyes just plops out and starts sliding on the wheel. We get a close-up of it sliding down the windshield. And then we see the other eye pop out. And I think we see an ear fall off. And then his tongue falls out. And when the tongue's still moving. And this is all practical effects, by the way. And then he starts vomiting bile, and the bile has snakes inside of it.
Right. Yeah. It was like a snake sack.
Yeah, it was a snake sack. And then that opens, and you see the snakes slithering.
Crazy.
And it is fantastic. I mean, this is the main event here. She gets out of the car.
And falls into the mud pit.
And she falls into the mud pit, which is basically the same as Poltergeist because it's the same shot sequence, basically.
Mm-hmm.
She goes into the tunnel first.
She goes into the tunnel.
And
he's snaking his way through the tunnel.
Flicking his way through. And I remember this part was like when I first saw it, I was genuinely frightened because how they shot him sliding through the tunnel, like first lighting from behind him, and he was all silhouetted. That was genuinely creepy. And then she kicks the tunnel open. She falls over.
She falls now
into the mud. Now she's into the mud, and then
her situation got much worse.
Yeah, and then we get basically Indiana Jones' worst nightmare. Clark hangs himself over, and he just starts vomiting all sorts of snakes.
I hate snakes, Chuck! I hate them!
And she's right at the bottom, like,
small snakes and one big snake.
A couple really big snakes.
Yeah.
And they just fall, and
hitting her hair.
And the person who played Lisa, she was a trooper, man. She was cool with getting a bunch of snakes being thrown on her head.
Yeah, give her all the credit.
Yeah.
And then she was crawling kind of like out of the mud, but the big snakes were in there, and then he fell down into
it. Yeah, and so he's crawling. Now, while this is happening, Jamie Farr and the sheriffs they're
like watching. Right?
They arrive.
Well, they arrive.
They arrive.
And she all of a sudden is like, I have love for you. Gets a stick and is trying to get him out of the mud.
Yeah, she's trying to pull him out.
So
and
she's
And he really doesn't have anything left to say, obviously. He doesn't have a tongue.
Doesn't have a tongue, nor does he have eyes.
No. So he takes the stick that she gives him and he stabs himself. So she's like, oh, Clark, oh, I loved you, and everything. And then we get the mouth opening.
Glasgow smile.
Well, the Glasgow smile, yeah. And I remember being like,
That was really scary for me.
Because it was a really cool shot because he's screaming and every scene she's like reaching out to him and he has his mouth wide open.
Yeah.
And then it cuts really quickly to a very realistic dummy of him,
Yeah.
I guess, with his mouth splitting and you're like, whoa.
And you think about this poor dude died an absolutely painful, horrible death.
Yeah, if you think the guy
he was screaming to the bitter end. So his head splits open, and we get the big snake that comes out.
That's like a part of his spine or something.
Yeah, it was a spine, basically. Which that was an amazing effect. I really like the design of that final snake. And the sheriff arrives with Jamie Farr. Jamie Farr is a great marksman and gets a rifle. We don't know where he got the rifle from, and blows up the snake. The exact same ending of The Fly.
Blows the snake's head off. And is very ecstatic about it. He's just like, yes.
Well,
very proud.
Did it.
Because
I saved that guy.
Because he's not going to get sued. That's the real reason he's happy.
He was the only one with an arc. He just happened to be not so ethical.
Yeah, he's not really like the hero of this story. But
shoots the
snake's head off, and Lisa's like, oh, and then
the sheriff helps her out of the mud,
and that's it.
And it like
cut the credits.
Cut the credits.
Like, wow. Like,
and
she served
no, she had no agency.
Now, like, women can be heroic, right? We're not just like, oh, we need to be damsel in distress. Like, the whole thing, she was like a damsel in distress. She was hopeless. She was just, honestly, it could have been a paper bag.
What was
that
crazy?
They put in place, and it would have been fine. Like, the movie would have been exactly the same.
What's crazy though is this was the 80s. I mean, it was the tail end of the 80s, but women in horror were considered strong characters. They were always following. No, I'm saying that's what I'm saying. That's why this movie.
Yeah, we had Ripley by then.
Yeah.
So I know what they were doing. That's why it was a flop.
Amongst other reasons.
Because we had Texas Chainsaw. Like, there were women that were like, fucking things up, and she was just like,
She was,
and then she's just sitting on the hood of a car.
But I mean, she was.
Snake.
Real quick, the end credits also ended on a really weird note because it ended with that weird Kenny G saxophone music for a horror movie. He wanted to make the sexiest snake movie of all time.
He did.
The sexiest.
It's like, well, they had saxophones all over Lethal Weapon. Why not this, right?
Right. Oh my God. And that was Cursed 2.
Yeah. I give this movie 2 snakes down.
Oh my God.
Well, it's like kind of 2 snakes.
Yeah, I know. The practical effects were awesome.
The practical effects were great.
Like, and living through the era that we're now in, I sorely miss. Like, just just looking at it, it's so viscerally creepy. Like The Thing, like Curse 2, like you could just go on and on about all the movies of the 80s and early 90s even that had like really, really good special effects that you felt like they felt tangible.
Yeah.
Right? And that makes them scarier. As soon as you can see the CGI or whatever, it just doesn't work.
Yeah. And I think, there's some smaller horror movies that are trying to get back into practical effects like Terrifier and Terrifier 2, for example.
I haven't seen those ones. I just can't do it yet.
But I mean, they're all practical effects. I mean, they are gory as shit, but at least, that's what they're, that's kind of the big selling point of those movies. But obviously Curse 2 is not a great movie by any stretch of the imagination, but if you're going to watch it for the special effects.
You just fast forward to
fast forward to like the last 20 minutes.
20 in, and
the last 20 minutes and you're good. But we endured this. And remembering it, I remember it pretty vividly from when I was a kid, but at the same time, I think I watched this movie like every other day.
I own it, so I can't really admit to. I think Jordan bought it on special demand.
Yeah, it was hard to find. I ain't gonna lie, it was really hard to find.
And now it's not, because like, yeah, we just watched it on YouTube.
And then the next step is to pass this amazing bit of cinematic art to your children.
Yeah, no.
Eventually they'll see the thing.
Sure, eventually they will see it, but like not. This nugget will stay in the basement.
There's a lot of other ones
and
that
when they reach of age or they sneak behind her back to watch it, then you know.
Oh my god. Okay, so I guess that's it for now. We got to get to watching Troll 2 now at some point. But thanks for watching. Definitely check out the channel. Leave a like, comment if you have seen Cursed 2 or any movies comparable, I suppose.
I stayed awake for this one.
You did stay awake. I'm very proud of you.
And we've lost our sock, but the snakes are somewhere.
We're gonna bring in the actor though.
Mr. Sacco. Now you gotta teach Emily and the boys about Mr. Sacco and mankind, and
that's right. Yes.
That's the next obvious step.
Absolutely.
Definitely. God.
Whatever Flo wants.
Flo, yeah.